Welcome to Quickcasts from Yoga for First Responders. I'm Eric Brenneman, and in these bite-sized episodes, we'll bring you quick insights and practical tips on the power of yoga, breathwork, mindfulness, and meditation specifically for first responders. Whether you're on a quick break or between calls, we've got a nugget of wisdom to help you stay resilient and focused. Let's dive right in. There's a sentence that sounds responsible. It sounds measured. It sounds mature. The timing just wasn't right. And I don't want to dismiss that. Sometimes it genuinely isn't. Life fills up, shifts stack, family needs you, energy dips. But here's the real question. If the timing wasn't right, what are you doing instead? Because the nervous system doesn't operate on your enrollment calendar. It does not pause because your schedule is full. It does not hold off adapting because this quarter is busy. Your nervous system doesn't say, no problem, we'll wait until next year. Stress continues to accumulate in real time. Adaptation is happening whether you guide it or not. And when people say the timing wasn't right, what I often hear underneath that is something else. What they're actually saying is, I don't have capacity. And listen, that's honest. But your capacity doesn't magically expand. Capacity increases when skill increases. Let me paint a picture. It's the end of your shift. Everyone is sitting around decompressing. Gear may be half off, jokes are flying, phones are out. Someone says, yeah, I thought about signing up for that instructor school, but it just isn't the right time. A few nod. Same. Maybe next year. Yeah, man, things are crazy right now. And that moment feels harmless. No one is melting down. No one is falling apart. Everything seems fine. But here's what's invisible in that room. Half the people sitting there, they're running hot. They're running a red line. Short on sleep. High alert, low patience at home, hypervigilance, carrying stress they've never processed. No one talks about that part because discipline masks it. Everyone is still showing up. They're still performing. They're still functioning. But functioning and being regulated are not the same thing. There's a story we tell ourselves. After this stretch, things will calm down. I know I say that to myself almost every day, like tomorrow, the next month will be calmer, I promise. But it doesn't happen. After staffing improves, when we have more people on shift, I might be able to get away with it. After this promotion, when my kid gets older, I'll have more time. Then I'll invest in something like instructor school. But if you've been doing life long enough, you know something. There's always another stretch. There's always another season. Public safety, unfortunately, does not naturally move toward calm. It cycles through intensity. If your plan requires life to soften before you build skill, it's never going to activate. And waiting begins to feel responsible. Waiting actually can feel safe, but it's not neutral. Think about your vehicle. You're driving. Everything feels mostly fine. Then a little orange light comes on your dashboard. Not flashing, not catastrophic. It's just there. You can still drive, so you do. You keep going. You tell yourself you'll deal with it later. But here's the part that most people miss. While you're driving, the system is still compensating. Fuel mixture shifts. Sensors adjust. Parts wear differently. It may take months before you feel the cost. And burnout is the same way. It rarely starts with immediate collapse. Typically, it starts with quicker irritation, shallow breathing, if you can even notice that, maybe drinking more caffeine, less patience at home, maybe with your spouse, your partner, your kids, emotional distancing from others, or maybe even a loss of meaning. You can still function, so you keep driving. And every time you say the timing just isn't right, you're choosing to keep driving with the warning light on. Listen, that's not weakness, but it is a choice. It is a drift from your goals. Waiting is an active choice. Waiting feels passive. It feels like avoiding commitment. But in fact, it is a commitment. While you wait, your stress response patterns deepen. Your baseline tension sets higher. Your recovery window shrinks. Those around you absorb that state. Because nervous systems are contagious. If you're around or leading while dysregulated, even subtly, that tone of your nervous system spreads. Not because you're failing, but because it's natural for physiology to sync to the people around us. The cost of delay is rarely just yours. It's cultural. It's familial. Here's why prevention gets pushed. It's quiet. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't look urgent. But repair does. When someone is burned out, now it's urgent. If we hurt our shoulder, now it's urgent. If we sprain ourselves, now it's urgent. When someone snaps, now it's urgent. When sleep collapses, now it's urgent. But by then, your work is heavier. It's always harder to repair than prevent. Virtual instructor school is prevention work. It's skill building before collapse. It's capacity building before breakdown, and that matters. You see, capacity is built. It's not found. People say, I just don't have the bandwidth, and I get it, because I've said it too. But that bandwidth isn't discovered. It's built. When you learn to down-regulate on purpose, your recovery improves. When recovery improves, your clarity improves. When clarity improves, your tolerance improves. Capacity expands because skill expands, not because life got easier. Let me slow this down for a second. Ask yourself honestly, where is your check engine light right now? What's that warning signal you've been ignoring? Is it sleep? Irritability? Motivation? Is it the feeling that everything takes more effort than it should? Don't answer quickly. Actually, think about it. Because the most dangerous place to be is functional but eroding from the inside. You don't get dramatic warnings there. You slowly adapt to operating below your potential. And that adaptation becomes normal. Maybe instructor school in person didn't work out for you. Maybe you can't attend the one that's coming up in 2 weeks in March, the beginning of March. Or if you're listening to this after that, maybe you missed the one in March and we don't have another one coming around for a year. That doesn't mean that your door is closed. Your breath doesn't change. Your nervous system does not change. The methodology does not change. The only thing that changes is how we deliver the information to you. Virtual Instructor School exists because life is real. It allows you to build the same skill set inside of your schedule. The same standards, the same professional expectations, the same science. It's just a different access point. And that's not a lesser option. In fact, we have some phenomenal people and phenomenal instructors who've gone through Virtual Instructor School. They're fantastic because it's not a lesser option. In fact, for many people, it's the more sustainable entry. If you are in a leadership position, any leadership position, and even in formal leadership, this matters more. And I'm going to argue if you've made it to this point, you are an informal leader in your organization, whether you believe it or not. And you're modeling what stress looks like because you're also modeling what recovery looks like. You're modeling what discipline looks like. And if your discipline is propping up dysregulation, people see that. They may not have a language for it, but they feel it. Leadership is not just performance. In fact, it's nervous system tone. And that tone spreads. So here's the real question. If not now, when? When life slows down? When stress decreases? When everything magically aligns? Or when you decide that building capacity is no longer optional? Because remember, your nervous system is adapting every day. It will continue to adapt toward reactivity. Or it can adapt toward regulation. That choice is happening now. If this message is landing, don't let it just become something you nod at, agree with, and then click next on Spotify or whichever platform you're listening to. Because Virtual Instructor School is always open. It exists for exactly this moment. For people who care about prevention. For people who understand that waiting has a real cost. For people who want to lead from capacity, not depletion. If you want a broader ecosystem reinforcement beyond instructor school, YFFRU University All Access supports ongoing growth. But Virtual Instructor School is the step today. Not next year, not when it's perfect, now. Because the check engine light doesn't disappear when it's ignored. It just waits, silently accumulating that burden of stress.
Hey, before we go, I want to remind you that training your mental and physical health is incredibly important, especially for those working in high-stress jobs like first responders.
And if you're interested in learning more about yoga for first responders, visit yogaforfirstresponders.org for our on-demand training app, online course platform, in-person training, and more.
Like this podcast, subscribe, and give us a great review. We are so happy to have you part of the YFFR mission.